Hello and welcome back to Accessible Photography with Alistair McDonald and the Outer Hebrides. It's going to be an interesting time here. I arrived yesterday and got out and did some photography quite quickly. Didn't vlog very much because I just wanted to try and get some images. I wanted to relax into what I was doing and not try and rush everything, although I was feeling a little bit rushed, and the reason being is there's two storms heading towards us. One of them is ex-hurricane Dorian, and there's another storm coming up from the south, I believe. They're going to collide and give us some pretty horrendous weather. So I wanted to get those nice sunny shots over and done with, and then maybe have a few stormy shots thereafter. I'm on Burnery just now, and I'm now in a youth hostel, and the reason being is my tent collapsed putting up in the wind yesterday when I arrived and damaged the points where the poles go in. So I've decided to use the bunkhouse today. I've still got a two-man tent with me. I brought two tents just in case something like this happened, but the weather's supposed to be so bad I thought I'm just going to use the bunkhouse. So I'm here for 3 nights and I'm off now to go and take some photographs around North Uist. Ooh, it's a bit blowy out there. Now, I remember Brendan Bunsen saying when you're out and about on trips like this, to always have the big lens attached to your camera at hand, so when you see wildlife and such things, you can get it easily. I didn't. The big lens was in the boot. Hidden in the boot. I had to dig that out, put that on, set this up, get a few pictures of the seals there. But they're seals. They don't move very fast. They don't disappear as soon as you see them, or as soon as they see you. So I think I got some pictures there. I did forget initially to make sure the focus lock was off. So the first few pictures were lost. I've scrubbed those and I've taken some more. And I've tried to take some video with that camera. I really don't like trying to take video with the camera because I can't see the back screen very clearly even with my varifocals. So I set the focus using the viewfinder, then switch it to video. It looks out of focus on the back screen. If it isn't, we're on a winner. I should have some close-up shot, close-up video of the seals on the rocks, just a quarter of a mile from where I'm staying. Just heading off Burnery to North Uist. I've barely got off Burnery and I've already stopped to take pictures. It could be an interesting day, and let's see what happens. I'm going to try and take in a few points of interest that are in my book, my photo view of photographing Scotland, and if I do, I'll show you what it is and we'll go from there. Anyway, time to move on. parked the car back along the road there because it's quite difficult to see something and stop where you see the location because the roads are so small and so narrow. Yep, really narrow roads and not easy to walk on either, especially when you're vlogging just beside a passing place and two camper vans decide to come along at the same time. Anyway, what am I looking at? I'm looking at this area down here, and the light was a little bit better when I came along. There's an old house over here. Well, it's a farmhouse over there. I think I saw a ruin. I was pretty sure I saw a ruin somewhere. I might be mistaken, but I like the look of the land, and I'm going to go and see if I can catch something of that, and maybe a little bit of heather, because there's some heather around. So I'm going to go for a little view here. It's probably not the best composition, but what I wanted to do was get some heather into the shot, as well as the item of landscape behind that I'm definitely wanting to capture. So the chances are this will be a test shot. It won't work, I'll move on elsewhere, but you never know. And you might ask, Alistair, why is this strange camera angle looking up at me? I'm probably silhouetted against the brighter sky. Well, the reason being, my dear friends, is quite simple. It's blowy, and that's a light tripod, and it's going to go over if I don't keep it nice and low. Now, if there's any movement coming from that, it's because Duke has decided to lie down right beside the tripod. And I think what I'll do is I'll take a wee photograph of him beside the tripod. This is a picture of Duke. I'll bring that up on screen just now. And I'm just going to readjust my settings. They were very high because I was trying to photograph seals earlier. So take the ISO back down. I had to raise the ISO to get a high shutter speed with the big lens, because you try to keep the shutter speed higher than the lens that you're using. So I was on a 600, so minimum speed would be 600, but because it's so blowy at the moment, I went a lot higher. Anyway, let's see what I can do with this. Okay. Protect the camera from the wind. Take a picture. That's all right. I like that. I'm wondering whether to go down to the marsh area. It might be too wet. I put my boots on for this, so let's take a wee wander. So I've decided not to go down into this area. It does look a little bit marshy, but I feel if I'm down low, it's just not going to look as good as it does from up here. So I'm just going to relocate along here a little bit and see if I can use one of those openings as a leading line onto something more interesting as he stumbles through. So, oh yeah, bugger. What am I walking across? Okay. The landscape's very interesting around here. And I mean very interesting. Right. Oh, it's soggy. Right. It's soggy here. I'm not even down in amongst the wettest bit. So that could be interesting. So I'm going to stay here. I'm going to use one of those openings as a bit of a leading line, into the hills beyond and the farmhouse. And I've got to get down to a point where I can actually set the camera up. I feel bad walking through the heather. I don't know why. Relocated again, just from that point there, because I wasn't happy with the picture. Maybe I'll show it to you now. And I've brought myself around a little bit to get that view. keep trying to show you the back of the screen, it never works. So I'm using the video in the camera itself, and I'm trying to use this as a kind of a lead-in line. It kind of disappears this way, but it zigzags through to an old farmhouse here and the hills of Uist, or Harris should I say, in the background. So not sure where my focus point should be. I'm just going to go for a kind of middle. I'm at f16 for some reason. I'm going to take that to f11, try and get a big area. Should I have a bit more down here showing, or should I like do that? That's all right. Looks a bit empty in this area here, doesn't it? Maybe I should do a vertical on this in a minute. Let's have a look and see how this comes. I've got a line. I don't think it's a picture, but I'll have a go. And Duke is becoming stubborn. I had to drag him off the road. All he wants to do is go back down the road to the car and into the warmth and out the wind. So I'm about to take a walk using the book, page 400, viewpoint 2, Triach Air, or Triach Air. I'm not sure how to pronounce this at all, but I'm not going to go the full distance it talks about. And the reason being is it's blowing a gale, it's looking a bit grey, the weather's to get worse, and it's quite a long walk for me. It's not accessible. To be perfectly honest, Triach Air is not totally accessible. It's a long way. I'm going to spin the camera. So we're talking way over these dunes, either the path that way or going this way. And that's really not acceptable to me. I'm just going to take a walk on the beach, let the dog out. One thing I have found with this trip is I'm having to clean the lens a lot. I think it's the salt air. It's just not so good. So I'd pre-opened a wipe in case you wonder. Right, that's fine. So I'm going to put the attachment on, lock that in place. I've got a filter in my pocket, which is not the best way. And I'm going to go for a walk and let Duke in the water. Lovely day for a walk on the beach. But what a beach! I'm telling you now, if I was using a gimbal, it would be blowing all over the place in this wind. And poor Duke, eh? Well, I did the walk, the one I said I wasn't going to do. Took Duke out onto the bay, the beach there. The sea was quite far out, and as we were walking along the bay, taking some photography, I realised actually not as far to walk as I thought. It is a long way. It's visually a long way. I can see somebody coming down the ramp, I'll call it, on the dune, and the size of an ant at the moment. It's quite a distance, but by the time I walked there, I've walked Duke further than the normal daily walk, so it wasn't too bad, i.e. that distance and back again, so I thought this should be okay. So we went up the slope and over and down onto the beach, and the dunes are just huge. And I stopped vlogging because the wind is atrocious. I don't know if you can hear it. I'll just open the window a wee bit. No, I won't. It's hitting the back of the car there. It is strong. Poor puppy dog's ears were flapping like mad in the wind. But we got across the other side of the dune. It wasn't quite as windy, but it was still breezy enough. I didn't want wind noise on the mic. And I took some photographs and just concentrated on that. It wasn't the easiest without a tripod and all the kit, but it's too far for me to walk with all that. So accessibility for Tria Ayar, I have no idea how to pronounce it. Tria Ayar, no idea. There's two routes in. There's a path just over here, or there's straight from here from the car park, which is picnic area. It's a bit undulating, very steep to get over the dune. I'm not sure about the other way because I haven't been. If you're infirm, it's too far, I would reckon. If you're moderately firm, shall we say, a bit like myself, then it's accessible with a little bit of effort. For me, with ME, I felt my energy reserves dwindling as I came back along that beach, fighting that wind. I'm not sure how much more I'm going to do this afternoon. I think it's now after midday. Let's have a wee look. Yeah, it's 1:15. I've been out for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and the weather's getting just horrendous. Now, I always talk about the weather, don't I? The wind's coming this way, but the weather seems to be coming that way. I'm really confused. The rain seems to be coming one way and the wind's coming another. But this is the remnants of Hurricane Dorian coming in. It's to get really bad this afternoon, and I'm not sure where to go to get dramatic images of weather. So whether I just go back to the hostel and a nice peat fire and a nice cup of coffee and some food and just chill, or should I stay out and try and get some bad weather images? I don't know. I'm going to swing the camera around and let you see what it's like when the rain starts coming in, because everything just disappears. There's very little in that to photograph. It's just grey. It's just grey. This is what I'm in, a little car park. Yep, and that's me. Okay, I think the camper van wants me to move so you can do a turn. So I'm going to go.